Hello guys, I've come out into the New Forest for a bit of a walk, take the dog for a walk, and I brought a bag with me as always, just for the weight purposes really, a little bit of weight for training if you like, to keep my body used to carrying weight. I do this quite often. There's some trails near my house that I walk. I've got a 5-mile loop that I often do with weight. Last time I did it I had 20 kilograms, today I've got 11. This is my new winter mountain kit, I suppose. It's fairly minimalist, fairly light, although there is a couple of luxury items in there. And don't know if you can see them in the distance. There's deer legging it up this track. He obviously saw my puppy and didn't like it. He didn't chase them, which is good. And he's coming back to me like a good dog. Sorry, I thought I'd add that to the video. So back to the point. Yes, lightweight winter kit. I'm going to go and find a nice little bit of flattish ground. I'm going to pop a tarp up because the rain keeps coming and going, just to create a little dry space, and then we'll empty the bag. I've bought some little 5-litre side pouches because it was a struggle to get it all in, and I reckon I need to repack it anyway, because from my experience, when you're out in the cold and the wet first thing in the morning trying to get all your kit back together, it never fits like it did when you did it at home. So I think I'm going to pop the side pouches on and put a tarp in one side, water and snacks in the other, probably just to release a bit of space from the main pouch, from the main bag. Anyway, I'm going to pause now and we'll continue when we get to somewhere dry and comfortable. Hi guys, space is set up. What I have here is the DD Superlight tarp, which is 3 meters long by 2.9 meters wide. I've said before, say again, I don't understand why 2.9 meters wide, unless it was to hit a weight saving, or I suppose possibly they could only get the material in 2.9 wide rolls. I don't know, but it's a fantastic bit of kit. This is its 3rd year, I think. Other than developing a little hole at the far end on the edge, which I'm sure was my fault. It looks like an ember burn. So other than that, it has been a perfect piece of equipment. It's never leaked on me. It weighs about half that of a 3x3 and is about half the pack size, which makes a big difference when you go in light. It's got the usual ridge point loops, and the loops all down the edges, and in the middle I think there's 19 in total. And yeah, and I run it on the corners for the 4 guy lines. I've got these Night Eyes figure 9s, which one day, as I keep promising, I will get around to showing you how they work. And for the ridge line, I have this Night Eyes Cam Jam. These are the little ones that I think are 1.5 to 3 mil cords, and I'm running the cord that came with it, which is about 2 mils by the looks of it. I run that as a ridge line all the way across to the other end, and then I've staked the 4 corners out. A very simple A-frame design. This is my dry space, and in a moment I'm going to pop all my kit out, let you all have a look, see what I've got, and hopefully the puppy will stop chewing branches, if I'm lucky. So what we have here is the Wisport Silver Fox 30, which is an approximately 30 litre, really I bought it as a day sack, and in there is enough kit to last as long as you can carry food for, really. I'll take it all out off camera and just lay it out on the DD Magic Carpet. As you might have gathered, I'm a bit of a fan of the DD kit, just because it's always worked for me. No other reason. I've not tried much other stuff, but the DD's never failed me yet, so I keep using it. I have this, the Silver Fox. I also have the Raccoon 45, which is a 45 litre bag, which in all honesty is probably what I would use with all this kit, just to give it a little bit more space and make it a little bit less crammed. But this Silver Fox is a fantastic bit of equipment. It has the zip around back, which I'll open shortly, which allows you to unzip and access the whole pouch. On the outside I carry my Mora Light My Fire knife, and as you may have noticed, 2 4-section walking poles because they're a bit more compact, and that little black pouch is just my first aid kit. I'm not going to go into that, it's just a basic first aid kit with a little bit of trauma equipment, because I'm in the middle of nowhere basically. I've done 2 years with the ambulance service. I've never had to use any proper trauma equipment. I've never deployed a cat tourniquet in anger. I very rarely have to use hydrostatic equipment, gauze and powders and stuff. And then it's only for minor things, just to help clotting when we put a bandage on. So it's very, very unlikely I'm going to use it. But out in the wilderness, in the middle of nowhere, a day from help, potentially, somebody hurts themselves properly, then I might need it just to save a life. I'm more likely to use it on another person than I am myself. I hope. Fingers crossed, touching wood, and all of that superstitious stuff. But yeah, so it's a small pouch. It's not very big, as you can see. It's about the size of the palm of my hand, and I don't have big hands. There's a fantastic pouch, a bag. Molly pouches all the way around it. That strap's open because I've just removed this DD blanket. And a pouch in the top. There's not one on the inside. The Raccoon does have a zip pouch on the inside of the lid, but the Silver Spot only has the one at the top. I've got a few bits in there too. Okay, so we'll go through the whole bag, and we'll produce all our equipment very shortly. Thank you. All right, that didn't take long. The bag's empty, so we'll start as it came out. Really, the DD blanket was in the side, and the tarp was at the top, because my tarp is always right at the top. It's shelter, and you may need shelter in a hurry. If you want to stop for lunch and it's raining and you can find somewhere to do it, pop a tarp up, do your lunch under the tarp. It gives you a dry space. It takes you 3 or 4 minutes to set up. That's kind of my top tip, really. Have your tarp where you can reach it every time. Okay, so we have 3 days worth of dehydrated food. I really like the Trekmates Adventure Food. It's currently my favourite. I carry a water filter, which we'll get to in a second. So I only normally carry a litre of water with me, particularly in the winter where the streams are generally abundant. I normally, although it's not in this bag, for no good reason other than I didn't put it in, it doesn't take up any space, carry an extra litre empty of a Platypus soft water bottle, which is a litre bottle, and it rolls up to practically nothing, size of a matchbox maybe, at a guess. And it'll take a whole litre of water, and they're burst proof. I've never had one break. My bottles are on their 3rd or 4th year now. None of them leak, none of them have ever burst on me, and my kit gets abused properly when I go out. Okay, in this dry bag is my down jacket, an essential piece of winter equipment, which I forgot last time I went out. A litre Nalgene bottle, my comfy cup, which is a luxury rather than a necessity. Doesn't weigh a lot, but takes up a little bit of space because it's a cup. My brew kit is in this little Trangia mess tin. My MSR wind burner is possibly the best cooker I've ever owned when it comes to boiling water. Because I'm not boiling in the bag, I'll boil water in about 3 minutes and I've got my dinner ready to go. Spare gas cans, kind of all for itself. Long handled spoon, because the orange knuckles are not cool and not fashionable. And in here, in this dry bag, more to keep kit dry than it, is my Sawyer Squeeze water filter, which is my UK water filter system. It's great. When it's time to go abroad, I think I'm probably going to buy a Lifesaver bottle, because it's a much smaller filtration rate. It's lets less particles through. Talking in microns and stuff, I don't fully understand it. I just know that the smaller the number, the better, from a bacterial and particle filtration thing, really. I'll come over to this side. This is basically my sleeping equipment. So this is the new toy, the new Christmas present, the Hike and Bike Olus, I guess, 800 fill power down. It says 0 degrees Fahrenheit, which I believe is like -30 centigrade or something. I haven't done the calculations, but in the blurb it says its comfort limit is -15 centigrade, which is about as much as I expect to get in the UK, and I don't intend to be in the Antarctic for very long, if ever at all. In this little dry pack is my thermals. Again, this is my winter kit. And in here we have, up to here, is my excuse me, Thermarest Extherm, Neoair Extherm. And in the top bit is a Sea to Summit pillow, inflatable pillow. An emergency spork. Every bag I own has a spork in one of the little pouches. A mistake you'll only ever make once is turning up outdoors in the wilderness, boiling the bag or your dehydrated food, and realising that you have to eat it with your fingers. I did it with boiling the bag food. the boiling the bag, chili curry and rice. It's very nice, but it really does stain your fingers orange when you have to eat it with your fingers. Not ideal, I'm afraid. So I'm never making that mistake again. There's a spork in every single one of my bags, every single one of my pouches that might get attached to a bag. Everything has a spork in it now, because you can buy like 3 for £1 off eBay. Why wouldn't you? But I do try to take my long handled spoon, of which I'll be getting another one for my summer bag at some point, so I don't have to keep swapping kit over. And I only do that because I've got space. Emergency torch, bug spray, which is the 100+ life system stuff, which has never failed me. It's full of DEET. Some DD Superlight cord, just in case I need a bit of extra cordage, and a compass. It's not my silver. My silver is on my other bag at the moment. It's just strapped to the strap on a returning coil string thing that you'd have for keys and stuff and ID cards. And finally, the bag. My knife, which lives on the outside when I'm out in the wilderness, is the Mora Light My Fire. It's just a stainless steel Mora knife, like all the other stainless steel Mora knives, only in the handle, if I can do it one-handed. I can't. There's a ferro rod, which has been used a few times, as you can see, and it works like any other ferro rod. He says coming away from his magic carpet, wasn't it? Like any other ferro rod off the back of the knife, and it lives in the handle. It's not the strongest knife for battening because it's not full tang, obviously. Although, if you look carefully, I don't know how well the camera will show it along the blade. No, it doesn't show it. It is bent from battening with it. It does batten. I have done it. It's still not failed me, but I have a bushcraft knife that I take out when I'm not really thinking about weight. So this whole bag is set up for lightweight. The four section TrekMate poles on the side of the bag. I use them mostly to put a tarp up whenever there's no trees around. Obviously you can't put it as high as this because the poles aren't that big, but yeah, I'll use that to put a tarp up when there aren't any trees around. I've used them a couple of times inside of mountains, which is where you're most likely to find that. And also they're part of the first aid kit. It might be able to self-rescue if you go and damage an ankle or a knee when you're up in the hills, out in the woods. Because the last thing you want to do is have the embarrassment of having to call search and rescue to come and get you out. And the first aid kit, as we saw earlier, is on the outside of the pouch. So this is my kit. I'm going to repack it now. I'm going to attach my little 5 litre Wisport pouches to the side, just to create a bit more space in the bag and bring the profile down a bit, because it's quite tall. It's not much shorter than my 45 litre bag is when it's packed. So and kind of the point of it was to make it a shorter bag for travelling through woods, through mountains, and having a sort of a smaller profile, if you like, on my back. I damaged my back once with the 45 litre bag just because it's much wider, and not wider, much deeper, so it sticks out further, which increases the sort of force when it turns whilst I was climbing in Snowdonia a couple of years ago. So I'm going to pack all this away now. The magic carpet doesn't normally come with it. That was only in here for the purpose of this, so that's not part of the kit. Alright, I'll pack it away and I'll show you the new packed bag as soon as I'm done. So the first thing I'm going to do, now that I've added the side pouches, is the sleeping bag and its bivvy bag. That's the British Army Gore-Tex bivvy bag. This is all going to come out of its compression sack and go straight into the bottom of the bag. There's a couple of reasons for that. Firstly, it more efficiently fills up the space, and it's compressed a lot less, which is good for the loft of the down in the bag. And that applies to synthetic bags as well, to a degree as well, but particularly for down bags, the loft is quite important. That's what gives you your insulation. All the air within the feathers is where your insulation comes from. So that's going to get shoved in the bottom. Otherwise everything else is going to go in as it is, because that's how it's all organised in its dry bags and pouches and bottles and whatever it's in. Water, you might find, has to stay in its bowl, otherwise it gets a bit wet. So the bag is now packed, everything except for the tarp. As you can see, it's a much lower profile now. It's much shorter from the top. It's wider, but it's not much wider than I am, because I'm a bit fat. The sleeping bag is in the bottom. It's not compressed, it's just stuffed in there. One of the other advantages that I haven't mentioned to that is that because it fills out the bag nicely, you can squeeze more stuff in if you have to. So that then gives you a bit of room to manoeuvre when you're packing in the cold and the wet and the rain and everything's horrible. I've moved water, food and water filter into this side pocket here, and in this side pocket here I have moved my cooker, my comfy cup, my brew kit in that mess tin are in there, and of course the long handle spoon. So all my cooking and eating is now in the outside. I could remove the brew kit from there, and in there we'll slot one of those platypus bottles I was talking about earlier. That will fit in there. I've done it before in these pouches, which would then give me 2 litres of water, and the brew kit can just go in the top because there's now plenty of room. I could maybe even lose the comfy cup. I don't need it, it's just an extra. There's a plastic cup on the bottom of the wind burner, MSR cooker. There's a plastic cup on the bottom of there which I often use. The comfy cup's just a bit of luxury item. It's double walled so it doesn't get hot when you put your hot water in, so you can drink it almost right away like you would out of a normal cup. So now all I'm going to do is pack down, put the tarp away. I've left a bit of space in this side, see it's a bit squishy. A bit of space in there to fit the tarp in its pouch. The only other thing I might consider is taking some of the cooking kit out, or taking the cooking kit out and putting my super light hammock and the tarp in one of the side pouches. Again, the advantage to that, or not again, but an advantage to that, the main advantage to that would be that you can pack the tarp up when it's wet and it doesn't go in your bag. Although it's in its stuff sack in the bag, the stuff sack's not completely waterproof. So yeah, having it in a pouch outside will protect everything in the bag. And with the down sleeping bag, keeping it dry is paramount. It only takes a bit of moisture and it starts to lose its insulation capabilities. It's fantastic stuff. It's the lightest, most insulating material you're going to get on the market. There's nothing that has the same warmth to weight ratio as a good down sleeping bag, but it has its limitations, moisture and damp being the main one. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and the very naughty dog over there, thanks you for being here as well. Goodbye.